So, we are back. Wie gesagt, wir lesen jetzt erstmal Gambler Jack Volume 1 bis 7 durch. Und wir heben uns sozusagen dann 8 bis 14 auf für den Punkt, wo wir sie dann auch gefunden haben. Und dann gehen wir dann hier auch bis dann fürs Ende auf. Aber das ist halt die 11 Bücher, Volumes von Kanal, ja, haben sich schon gezogen zum Lesen. Das hat meine Stimme ein bisschen gekillt, deswegen würde ich das diesmal sozusagen in 2 Parts aufteilen. Einfach damit angenehmer auch für mich ist. Chapter 1, The Girl. The Coward Republic. There's a city in this country, a place where migrants from the east have recreated their homeland down to the bright, lacquered tiles, nicknamed the Eastern Quarter. It's a vibrant place, bustling and hot. All buses trundle down the main street, lined with strands of fragrant Eastern cooking, as the welcoming cries of sellers rise and fall over a crowd of tourists from every nation. The place where the cultures of East and West meet. Yes, it was a place that wore the mantle well. On the northern outskirts of the town was a little run-down bar. Doubtless it'd been fashionable once, but now the plaster was crumbling and the doors were left barely fit their pitted frames. Of course, such a seedy place attracted a clientele to match. To the lawless and violent, it was a home. Yeah, so he looked like my man again, said a low voice that echoed through the grimy room. The voice belonged to Jack. He was of medium size and in his early 30s, a man in his prime. The frayed shirt he wore had seen better days, but the accessories adorning his body were of obvious worth. None of them were right for a man like him. Just like the blue glint in his eyes compared to the dirty, poor and desperate thugs around him, he looked out of place. Das Spielsound distracted mich gerade so ein bisschen, deswegen drehe ich mal zumindest für mich selbst leiser. Ist gerade ein bisschen distracting, ablenken während des Lesens. Jack was always to be found at a bar, gambling or sharing around with the tricks of the town, sometimes fighting, sometimes drinking. He passed his days in idle recreation. As usual, today found him hunched at the bar. He'd been deep in his cup since early noon. It was the same as always. Another day, just like any other, was stretching out before him. And into that familiar scene cut a shriek of the door opening. A new customer stepped into that same old bar. But who was this new arrival? It was a girl, unlike any other he had seen before. Können wir kurz gucken. Okay, ist nicht der Ort, den ich gerade denke. Chapter 2, The Offer. The girl strode into the bar and closed the door without turning a rag. Lege. Keine Ahnung, wie sie die Längenangabe hier wirklich aussprechen. There was no hesitation in her manner. It seemed her arrival was no accident. Her face was determined, but her confident entrance couldn't erase the lingering innocent youth there. Even the best liar wouldn't try and claim she was more than 18. Dark brown eyes and hair suggested she was Eastern, but her nose and features made it hard to be sure. The girl slowly walked forward with each step. Her cute little knees peeked out from under the trim cut of her skirt. The outfit was a design without any sense of decoration. It seemed her taste lay more along the lines of utility than style. Maybe because of that, the Eastern symbol necklace on her chest couldn't help but look equally unremarkable. The lack of volume in that area probably had something to do with that as well. It seemed like there'd still be some time before she really bloomed. An appearance bearing the signs of East and West both, and simple, unembellished clothes, the girl might have been the spirit of the Eastern Quarter made fleshed. She caught the eye of one of the punks hanging about almost instantly. Hey, little girlie, he slurred. Wanna have some fun with me? As he spoke, he grabbed the girl's wrist with one greasy hand. Ich bin da gerade überlegen, ob die Beschreibung zu einem Charakter passt, den ich kenne. Aber zumindest im ersten Moment fällt mir keiner ein. It happened in an instant. Her arm flew up, dislodged into Punk's grip. Now freed, her hand disappeared deep into her skirt and then slid out with a mass of gleaming black iron. She pressed it to the space between his eyes. He stared at the object for a moment before collapsing to his knees in fear. It was an Orbital gun of cunning make, a high-caliber Werner Company model. If she'd shot that firearm, the punk would have lost his head instead of his bladder. It was not your average self-defense weapon. It's the latest model, she spurred. Want to see what it can do? She was cool and calm. The barrel of the gun didn't waver a bit. If she fired, her aim would be perfect. Overwhelmed by the girl, gun, or both, the punk couldn't move a muscle. Everyone else in the bar remained frozen as well. All eyes were on that girl. Hey miss, I hate to ask, but could you let him off with that? Maybe the speaker couldn't stand it anymore, or maybe it was disturbing his string, but a husky, sensual voice broke through the silence. It was Jack. Still, planted firmly in his chair, brief smelling of liquor, he continued. I'm sure he's very sorry and he's learned his lesson. He shot the punk a meaningful look. As if in answer to it, the punk started nodding in his head vigorously. I've come here to gamble, the girl said suddenly. She slowly lowered the gun in her left hand. Her expression remained cool and detached. Sounds good. Come over here. Give me everything you got. Jack's words had an immediate impact. Not on the girl, but on the gathered goons and hoods. They all shared a glance, each and every one of them, with the dirtiest grin you could imagine. Chapter 3. Challenge at high noon. Jack and the girl moved over to a table in the back. Unlike the other pitted and sticky furniture, this table was smooth and polished to a shine and seemed meant for gambling. Without a word, both took their seats. Jack sat against the wall and the girl faced him straight on. The other patrons were captivated. Helplessly fascinated by the match, they snuck glances at the pair, ears straining to listen in. The bar filled with fidgety silence. The girl's game of choice was poker. Jack accepted wordlessly. After a brief exchange to confirm the terms of the challenge, they settled on bets. It was to be 100 mirror a hand, not even enough to buy a beer, but Jack considered it fair for a match against a kid and said as much. The leader was the small fry punk from before. Jack gave him a quick eye signal. First hand. Both discarded just one card. Jack called and the girl stood. Jack had 2 pairs, the girl had just one. Jack was the winner. Haha, sorry little missy, he drawled. He raised his glass to her and downed the amber liquid in a single decisive gulp. Second hand. Both discarded just one hand. Perhaps trying to look confident, Jack let out a big clear sigh. The girl called and Jack stood. The girl had 2 pair. Jack had the same, but the cards told the tale. The girl's hand had a high card. It was the girl's win. What? Jack exclaimed. He said that his hand that had been toying with the glass froze. Immediately he glanced over at the punk who was stealing. The other man avoided his gaze. Something wrong? The girl asked. Her words were even, and her face betrayed nothing. I don't know, forget it, he said. He had swapped out some cards. The game suddenly took on a new angle. The look on Jack's face changed instantly. Lightly clearing his throat, Jack put the glass back on the table with his left hand. Then once more, he cleared his throat. The dealer, recognizing the signal, picked up the cards again. It was a code for deal. Normally next round. Third hand. As expected, each discarded just one card. Jack called and the girl stood. Jack's hand was a full house. How about that, he crowed. With a flourish, Jack laid his cards on the table. The bar patrons snickered into their cups. The girl set down her own cards without a word. 4 sevens. It was the girl's win. The bar once again returned to silence. Ich glaube, das ist auch mit so einem Teil der Grund, warum das hier mit dem Achievement zusammenhängt und man halt 4 of a Kind bekommen soll, weil 4 of a Kind ist relevant für die Story. Chapter 4. The Daughter. Ultimately, it was the girl's win. The silence in the bar was punctuated only by the sounds of a raucous argument out on the street. What make the laughter bubbling up, Jack asked the girl a question. Hey, Missy, where did... Yeah. Hey, Missy, where... Oh, where did you learn to be this good? The girl made no reply. Instead, she took the cards into her hands and began shuffling. They flew back and forth with exquisite grace between her long fingers. She dealt 5 to Jack, then 5 to herself. Show them, she said. Jack turned over the cards. Jack's hand was 4 jacks. The girl hand held 4 kings. That's... Jack responded speechless when he saw the cards. Jack doesn't beat king, she said. At the word king, murmurs rippled through the bar. King. It was the handle of a legendary gambler, said to be the best in the Republic until his death. The card technique the girl had shown was one of the ones the king had been so. Jack doesn't beat king, she said. Who? Just who are you? Jack asked the girl. The girl gave him a long, cold look before speaking. You probably don't know me, but I know you very well. I know you very well, she said. Hello, Victory Jack. My name is Hall. I'm the daughter of King, who you killed. You're King's daughter? Jack had never met King's daughter, not in person, no, but nonetheless he did have memories of her. King had been a doting father that had drilled holes in Jack's ears with endless stories about her. I see, so King's daughter has come to kill me, huh? The atmosphere in the bar was suddenly charged. Alright, then, kill me. The words casually leapt from Jack's mouth. It was a line no one in the bar would have ever expected. He tapped his chest. The heart's here. Make sure you aim well. The girl Hal quietly threw her over gun. Her aim, of course, was Jack's heart. Ich trinke nur mal kurz was. Aber ich gerade so sehe, zumindest die Kapitel, zumindest von der Seitenlänge her, sind fast die Hälfte von Cornelia. Aber wie gesagt, ich werde es trotzdem einfach in 2 Parts aufteilen, einfach weil es angenehmer macht für mich zum Lesen. Chapter 5, The Invitation. Hal's fingers soared out the trigger of a gun. There wasn't a man in this bar who could find the courage to stop her. The punks in hoods just cowered, whispering from the seats. Shut up, y'all, yeah. Yeah. This was some weird slang. Jack shouted over the bars. The chatter in the bar stilled. Grinding his back teeth, Jack looked straight into the girl's eyes. That's right, my goal is revenge, she said, but it won't mean anything like this. Hal lowered her gun. As Jack watched the barrel of the weapon slide away from his chest, confusion creased his face. Hal continued talking. Oh, these last 3 years, I've spent blood, sweat, and tears to learn to be as good as I am. Außerdem soll ich sagen, Hal weiternehmen oder Halle? Oder Hall. With that, the girl threw a card into Jack's face. It was some kind of invitation. I have a stage that's better suited to setting this already. We'll finish our match there, at that place. It will be one of the poker matches that you love so dearly. The misery and bitterness my father tasted. I'll make sure you eat your full share of the dish. With that threat lingering in the air, Hal disappeared from the bar. Unable to grasp the meaning in the girl's words, Jack just sat there for a while. Finally picked up the card that had fallen to the floor and read the text printed on it. Tomorrow night at 10, come to the harbor. Harbor, huh? Can be. A sense of foreboding ran through the back of Jack's mind. As he was about to crush the card in his hand, a small signature on the back caught his eye. Enrique. The penmanship was familiar. It was also the name of a man Jack knew. Oh man. Jack's sense of foreboding would prove right. The King. On the night after the day Hall visited, Jack headed to the harbor as the card instructed. In a rare show of sobriety, he hadn't had a drop of booze. He realized at some point that he was being followed. On top of that, he knew it would be someone acting on behalf of that man, Enrique. Don't worry, he had as he stopped and turned. I ain't gonna run or hide from this. No one answered. What a boring fella. Turning back around, Jack continued on. The night was a dark one. No moonlight or stars piercing the cloud-shrouded sky. Jack only had the road lamps to go by as he walked alone through the empty streets. The grand match between him and King as he walked, memories of it flooded back. His legendary skill had earned him a nickname to match, King. He had been Jack's teacher and his greatest rival. 7 years ago, Jack and King had played the game of their lives. It was Jack who found himself the winner. The game was used by the privileged in the underworld of the Republic to decide the outcome of a struggle of power. King, forced to take responsibility for losing, was killed. Though indirectly, it could not be denied that Jack's win had been King's ultimate loss. Around an hour after leaving the bar, he reached the harbor. The smell of refuse and brine wafted in one warm breeze. An enormous boat was floating on a dark night sea just ahead, waves lapping quietly at its side. Its hull was painted a solid black, making it almost impossible to see. It was a boat Jack and King had been on 7 years before. As Jack approached the gangway, he was met by a small silhouette from the shadows, Hall. "Welcome, Victory Jack," she said. "I really didn't think you would come all the way out here on your own 2 feet. Have to admit, you've got courage." Normally, Jack might have had a joke or a comeback, but tonight alone he was different. He was a different man. Glancing at Hall, he boarded the ship without a word. The light from the portage shone blue, glinting off his eyes as he passed. The sound of the steam whistle was swallowed by the lonely darkness, and slowly the ship slipped free from the harbor and out to sea. The Banquet of Darkness. The ship was utterly silent as it cut through the velvet darkness of the night. In contrast to the stillness and inky black of the outside, one layer down the ship's interior was filled with light and sound. Furnishings from every part of the continent adorned the walls, and a band of musicians played a cheery song. The orbital glow of a chandelier imported from Liberia shone down on every form of human desire. In the hall built into the center of the ship, guests laughed and chatted. They appeared to be the finest of ladies and gentlemen, but each and every one were a part of the seedy Republican underworld. They were the type of folk that spoke of murder as easily as one would dinner or a fine wine. Their faces hadn't changed much in 7 years. In the furthest depths of the hall there was discreet seating for the highest ranked of the lot, and just like 7 years ago, there was a certain group of men there. One old man was flanked by several bodyguards. His name was Chief Minister Shamrock. He was the host of the party aboard the ship. Ich bin überlegen, triggert der Name Shamrock irgendwas in meinem... Der Name Shamrock triggert irgendwas, aber ich habe keine Ahnung mehr, was die Connection war. A long white beard trailed down his chest. It was a symbol, and also the symbol of power. Though retired several years before, he continued to serve in an advisory role to many organizations. Retirement had done nothing to slow his influence on the nation. He was a man well worthy of being called the monster of the underworld. Chief Minister Shamrock held his party once every year as a place for the powerful to meet and share useful information. Of course, there were many in the group who could hardly be called friendly in their attitude. 2 of these such men were Enrique and Juan. Enrique 7 years ago, and this time was the man who twice now built this plan for a gambling match. Originally had been an arms dealer. He had been an arms dealer, but 10 years before, when he started dealing with the Easter Quarter, he had expanded his business to smuggling drugs and became a villain on the rise, the best of the new class. Drug dealing in the Easter Quarter could be an interesting... Also, Drogenschmuggel und Drogenhandel könnten eine interessante Information sein, die man im Kinderkopf behalten könnte. Ich bin mir nicht ganz sicher, aber es könnte connected sein mit etwas, was wir in der Gospel Arc machen werden. Conversely, one was a villain whose roots ran deep in this region back to even before the Eastern Quarter. He was the kind of man who ruled from the top, commanding gangs of thugs, punks and the like. Over the last 10 years in the Eastern Quarter, Enrique and One had been in the middle of a territory dispute. It was a fight of new versus old. Neither side had yielded a rigor, and every drop of blood was washed away with more blood in the fights. It was at the height of that situation 7 years ago that Enrique had suggested a duel with gambling as the theme. A one-on-one duel, full cheating match between the best of gamblers. In that match, they would both wager the territory in the Eastern Quarter. He brought the suggestion to One as a way to reduce the amount of profitless bloodshed at least a bit. At first, One had been against it, but the endless fighting was taking a toll on his own organization. Even so, One was an old-fashioned man, and not the type to easily jump to new ideas. Enrique next brought the idea of Chief Minister Shamrock and advisor to the underworld permitted the match. As the Chief Minister Shamrock was also advisor to One's group, with him having granted permission, One could hardly refuse the match. Okay. Ich finde auch immer interessant, wie es Mainstream-Fictional Novel dasteht. Aber ich glaube, all diese Novels haben irgendeine Relevanz zu der Story oder zu irgendwelchen Charakteren, die man früher oder später trifft. Oder halt, das sind Sachen, die in der Vergangenheit wirklich eigentlich mal so passiert sind. Gut. Ich glaube, ich kann auch jetzt eigentlich die Ingredients mal hier abgeben. Und ich muss wirklich das Game wieder ein bisschen lauter machen. So. So, darauf wollte ich hinaus. Ich sage nichts anderes. Dann geben wir mal die Ingredients ab.
食材を持ってきてくれたの？確認してみて。
Sehr schön, liegt every ingredients to win.
全部揃ってるわね。それじゃ受け取らせてもらうわよ。これで依頼達成ね。お疲れ様。忙しいところありがとうね。おかげで助かったわ。ついでに商人さんまで紹介してもらっちゃったし。気にしないで。お役に立てたなら何よりよ。お暇ができたらぜひうちに寄ってちょうだい。じゃあこれからもお仕事頑張ってね。ありがとう。グルナさんも頑張ってね。
Gut, damit haben wir das. Ich skippe größtenteils, was er gerade labert. Okay. Gerade wurde seine Comedy geredet. Nichts wohl Interessantes. Gut. Dann kümmern wir uns erstmal nach... Nee, da wollte ich nicht hin. Kümmern wir uns mal also um die Bleu Blanc Quest.
Karte にあったヒントは RICUL に花の裏、そして終わりは始まりと書いてあったわけですから、多分ひっくり返して読んでみろってことよね。あの言葉をお尻から読めば LUCIR 裏の花を調べるがよいよ。
Okay.
なるほどな。ボースでルシールといや、この工房のことに間違いねえ。
カードにあった通り花もあることだし、とにかく調べてみるわね。
There was a card attached to the pot.
よっしゃ、あったわ。
どうやら正解だったようだな。
早速見てみるわね。
第二の鍵は次なる呪文。F T
H K C に E 開かれし本を見よ決して忘れることなかれ真実を見る者は常に一歩先んじる
Wir sind diesmal wirklich so richtige Riddles. Wir werden richtig harten, Leute.
この次のヒントの FTHKC2E って何？本気で意味不明なんですけど。先ほどと同じように何か読み方があるのでしょう。常に一歩先んじるというのが手がかりなのだと思いますけど。まあとにかく街の中を調べてみるしかないわね。そうすれば何かつかめるかもしれないし。
ああ、じっと座って考え込んでも仕方がねえ。さっさと行くとしようぜ。
そうね。
Ach, Lucille, so heißt die Orbital Factory. Ja, klar. Muss man aber auch erstmal wissen. Man achtet ja gar nicht so darauf, wie die Orbital Factory heißt. Ja, keine Ahnung. Es sagt, Floor 3 von Racer gilt. When Estelle investigated the book, she found a card stuck to it.
見つけたわよ。何？
第三の鍵を求めるならば捧げもたれし棺を改めよ
どうやら正解だったみたいね。FTHKC2E を一文字ずつ進めれば、GUILD3F。
Es ist ein ganz einfacher, ja, eine ganz einfache Verschlüsselung. Einer der einfachsten Verschlüsselungsalgorithmen, den es gibt.
つまりギルドの3階ということになりますからね。まあ謎が解けたのはいいんだけど、まさかギルドの中に仕掛けられてるとはね。
まったく舐めた真似をしやがる。次に奴に会ったらしっかり礼をさせてもらおうぜ。
うん、そうしてやらないとね。それで次のヒントは捧げもたれし棺ですか。おそらく何かの例えでしょうけど。そう考えて間違いないわよね。だって本物の棺なんてその辺に転がってるわけないし。
おっと、なかなか鋭い読みじゃないか。では早速その棺とやらの正体を確かめに行くとするか。
Okay. So. Gehen wir mal zum Port.
捧げもたれし棺か。棺には見えないけど捧げもたれてはいるわよね。
なあ、だが見たところ肝心のカードがないようだぜ。
おかしいわね。場所はここで合ってると思うけど。あ、もしかしてコンテナの底にあるとか。それも考えられますけど、でも潜り込んで調べるにはちょっと隙間が狭すぎますね。確かに。このコンテナは絶対怪しいと思う。
こら、何してやがる。おめえら機械をいじってやがったな。
Weil ich sehe, wie viel Luft da unten eigentlich Platz ist. Ich glaube, würde es recht einfach sein, für jemanden ohne zu rauchen. Aber hey.
一体どういうつもりだ。
いじってなんかないわ。ただちょっと調べたいことがあっただけよ。
はあ。
なあ、俺たちはこういうものだな。
I gotta show likely his brace emblem.
おお、なんだ遊撃士さんか。事件の調査でもしてたのか。
まさにその最中よ。あとそうだ、一つ聞きたいんだけど、おじさんってこの機械を動かせるの？
ああ、もちろんできるぜ。なんだ、動かしてほしいのか。
うん、実はコンテナの底を調べなきゃいけないの。下から覗けるぐらい高く持ち上げてもらえる？
ああ、お安いご用だぜ。よし、そんならちょっと。
Man merkt, wie viel Autorität die Braces haben, wenn er halt auf einmal so richtig so einen kompletten Shift so im Ton auf einmal hat, nur weil wir unsere Brace-Emblem gezeigt haben.
おーし、ロックしたぜ。もうコンテナの下に入ってくれて大丈夫だ。
うん、了解よ。早速調べてみるわ。
There was indeed a note attached to the bottom of the container.
よし、あったわ。ありがとうおじさん。もう済んだわよ。
おい、それじゃあコンテナを下ろすぞ。どうやら探し物は見つかったみたいだな。
ご助力感謝するぞ。
はは、気にすんなよ。大したことはしてねえさ。まあ何の操作だか知らねえが、きっちり解決してくれよ。そいじゃあ俺は仕事に戻るぜ。
うん、ありがとね。思わぬところから助けが現れてくれたわね。
うん、それでは仕事を続けるとしようか。
うん、早速カードを確認してみましょう。
Was ist das
す
nächste?
でに扉は開かれた。求めし虚栄の証は女神の言葉のうちにあり。
Das klingt sehr nach Kirche.
だってどうやらもう一息みたいね。ええ、そのようですね。次の手がかりは女神の言葉ですか。
Ich habe das Gefühl, das letzte Hint ist eigentlich immer nur relativ einfach und sagen einfach hier Victory Lab, so nach dem Motto, du hast das eh gleich.
街の中で女神って言えば場所は決まってくるわよね。
そういうことになるな。すぐに行って調べてみるとしようぜ。
うん、そうしましょう。
Wo war die? Da.
これ七曜教会の聖典よね。女神の言葉ってもしかしてこれのこと？
聖典は女神のもたらした良き知らせの書だからな。おそらく間違いないだろう。
あ、そういえば日曜学校でそんなこと聞いた気もするけど、まあいいわ。とにかく調べてみるわね。
Estelle investigated books she found an iron medal wedged between the pages. Medal with two-winged horse and sword design.
見つけたわ。それにしてもごっつい勲章ね。ええ、重厚長大があちらの国風ですからね。そのお国柄が勲章にも反映されているのでしょう。なるほど。国民性の違いってやつね。まあでも考えてみればこれくらいの迫力は必要かも。 だってこれをつけるのはダビル大使なんだもんね。
言えてるぜ。あのおっさんの顔も負けず劣らずごついからな。
今は余計にそう見えるかもしれんな。今回の事件のせいでイライラも募っているようだ。
そういえばそうね。それじゃすぐに届けてあげるとしますか。
それは本当かね。
Sweet.
本当に勲章が見つかったのか。
Jo, haben wir. Nimm.
本当に本当。まあ論より証拠よ。勲章をお返ししときますね。
おお、これはまさしく私の。よくぞ無事に。
感激に水を差すようで申し訳ないんですけど、探し物はそのなんとか勲章で間違いありませんか？
なんとか勲章ではなく、封建付き総欲馬大受賞だ。栄誉ある賜い者に対し、そんな呼び方は無礼であるぞ。
そんな長いの覚えられないってば。
Aerodonium-People anscheinend.
何か言ったかね。
別に。とにかくその勲章で間違いないんですね。
そういないぞ。これでどうにか最悪の事態は逃れたな。あとは事件の元凶たる不届き者を処罰すればこの一件は落着なのだが、時に犯人の目星はついているのだろうね。
Den wirst du nicht so schnell fassen.
目星はバッチリですけど、残念ながら足取りの方はさっぱりで。
なんだと？逮捕の見込みはないのか？
すぐには無理だろう。犯人と目される人物は割と名の売れた盗賊だって話だからな。怪盗 B って名前をどこかで聞いたことはないか？
怪盗 B だと？あやつリベールに出没しておるのか？
Ja, der geht uns schon seit ein paar Monaten auf den Sack.
やっぱりご存知？
一時期は帝国の諸都市を荒らし回っておったのだ。あやつは我が帝国軍ですら捕まえられなかった男。今回は勲章が戻っただけでよしとしなければならんか。
ええ、残念ですけど。
バークレー書記官。はっ。あれは用意してあるかね？
はっ、こちらに。
逮捕まで至らなかったのは誠に遺憾ではあるが、あの怪盗 B が相手とあってはそれを責めることはできまい。諸君らは見事に勲章を発見し、我が帝国の威信を保ってくれた。かかる多大な功績を鑑み、当エレボニア帝国大使館はここに鉄騎功労章を授与する。
Asteros gonna the Eisen Ritters Medal. She did her best to keep a straight face.
諸君、おめでとう。おめでとうございます。
Wow.
唐突に勲章を授与されてしまいましたね。
Jetzt habe ich schon 2 davon.
なんだよ。
これぞ帝国式だな。
突然こんな栄誉を授けられ、君が戸惑うのはよくわかる。何を隠そう、若かりし頃の私も初の受賞の時にはそうであった。だが縮こまることはない。今回の働きは十分称賛に値するものだ。受勲者の名に恥じぬ活躍を今後とも期待いたしておるからな。
ありがとう。
Keine Ahnung, ich kann so gegangen. Kurz Brain auf Karma und einen Moment gehabt.